Journal Trust here. In this video, I am going to detail why the next phase for the housing market crash of 2025 has started. But before I do that, please take a moment right now to hit that subscribe button and the like button. I appreciate you. So, there's rising inventory and stagnant demand, right? Housing inventory has surged with listings up over 30% year over year as of this month, 2025. So while demand remains weak due to high prices and affordability, okay, houses are sitting on the market longer and price reductions are becoming more common, with 18% of listings, seeing price cuts. There's the affordability crisis, so the cost of buying a home has outpaced wage growth. The income required to afford a median-priced home has risen by nearly $47,000 since 2019. There's major home ownership expenses now consume 32% of the average national wage, well above the traditional 28% lending guideline, making home ownership unattainable for many Americans. There's persistently high mortgage rates. So mortgage rates remain elevated, hovering around 7%. As of early 2025, that number may bump up compared to the ultra low rates of the pandemic era. This has drastically reduced purchasing power, sidelining many potential buyers and suppressing demand. We know the economy, right? There's uncertainty in regards to the economy. There's broader economic headwinds such as downgraded, growth forecasts, persistent inflation, and concerns about job security are further undermining buyer confidence. It's not, if economic conditions worsen or unemployment rises, more homeowners could be forced to sell, basically increasing the inventory at a time of weak demand. So that's one of the largest issues now. There's a shift in buyer psychology, so the fear of missing out that fueled the pandemic era buying frenzy has been replaced by a fear of overpaying or buying at the peak. So basically, as news prices of reductions and affordability struggles spreads, buyer sentiment has shifted, leading to even less demand and downward pressure on prices. Now let's talk about how to prepare from either a buyer or a seller point of view in regards to this next phase, okay, of this housing crash. Now, for buyers, there's the financial readiness, right? Build an emergency fund covering at least 3 to 6 months of expenses. Avoid overstretching your budget. Only buy what you can comfortably afford. Secure a fixed rate mortgage to protect against rising interest rates. Aim for a larger down payment to establish equity from the start. There also do some strategic shopping, right? Do thorough research on local markets to identify fair prices and spot motivated sellers. Be ready to act quickly if you find a good deal, but don't rush into impulse buys. Consider expanding your search to more affordable areas such as suburbs or smaller towns. Monitor mortgage rates, case by case basis. So rates are expected to fall slightly, which could improve affordability. Negotiate, and be flexible. So in a downturn, buyers may have more leverage. Don't be afraid to negotiate for concessions or price reductions. So take advantage of assistance programs such as down payment grants or lender incentives. Now, on the seller side, you have to have some market awareness. So stay informed about local inventory and demand trends. Stale or excess inventory can force price reductions. So if you anticipate a downturn and need to sell, consider listing sooner rather than waiting for prices to drop further. Okay, there's financial safeguards, so build up cash reserves in case you need to hold your property longer than expected. If you're not urgent or if you're not in urgent need to sell, you may be able to wait out a downturn until values recover. In regards to pricing and concessions, you have to be prepared to offer concessions or lower your price if buyer demand weakens. Focus on your long-term goals. Don't panic, sell unless, necessary. Now, here are some of the cities that are going to be, they're potentially facing, they're going to get the brunt work of this, housing crash. You have Las Vegas, Nevada, which has the highest probability among large metros for a price drop, with a 48.5% chance of a greater than 5% decline. You have Phoenix, Arizona, also highly exposed with a 47.5% chance of a significant price drop. Atlanta, Georgia is next, which faces a 45.8% chance of a notable price decline. Detroit, Michigan at 44.5% risk. Detroit is among the top cities likely to see falling home prices. Memphis, Tennessee, Cleveland, Ohio, Sacramento, California, Chicago, Illinois all have risk levels above 40% for a 5% plus price drop. Now, Florida is getting this smoke too. Orlando sits at 38.8%. Tampa sits at 35.8%. They're particularly exposed among Florida's large cities. Now, there are Florida hotspots. So, Florida is also seeing some very sharp corrections, especially in places like Lakeland, Cape Coral, Fort Myers, St. Petersburg, Kissimmee, right? Port St. Lucie. These areas are seeing price decline, surging inventory, rising foreclosures, and falling demand. Now, here are the most, vulnerable mid-sized and small cities. They're also getting this smoke. It's not just the large ones. You have Reno, Nevada, Modesto, California, Vallejo, California, Stockton, California. These mid-sized cities have risk levels between 46 and 49% for significant price drops. Cape Coral, Florida, among mid-sized metros is, basically at risk as well. We talked about that, 43.5%. North Point, Florida, Punta Gorda, Florida, also in Florida. These smaller metros are facing high risk, with Punta Gorda at nearly 40%. Albany, Georgia, basically the small metro most at risk, with 52.2% chance of a 5% plus price decline. San Diego, Austin, other notable cities: Tampa, Miami, San Francisco, San Antonio, Dallas, Phoenix, Orlando, Atlanta, Denver. Okay, so those are the kinds of cities that are trying, that begun to show year-over-year price drops, leading to the current correction phase. Okay, so rising inventory, it's slowly turning into a buyer's market. There's a lot of correction going on right now. That's kind of what's causing this. So that's what I have for you today. Please take a moment right now to hit that subscribe button and the like button. If you appreciate this video and you want more videos like this, please let me know that by hitting that subscribe button and the like button right now. I appreciate you. Stay safe. See you on the next video.